The heavenly river flows endlessly, granting immense spiritual power to the immortal sects nearby. In the eastern branch, four mighty sects thrive: the blood flow, the spirit flow, the pill flow, and the mystical flow. In the mortal realm, a young orphan named Bai Xiaokun grows up under the care of the Bai family. Though he's mischievous, the village elder cherishes him like a son. However, the other villagers grow weary of his antics and wish for him to depart. Determined to catch the attention of one of the sects, Bai ascends a mountain and ignites incense, summoning Lai Qingyu from the Spirit Flow sect. Filled with excitement upon seeing Uncle Lai, Bai pleads for a chance to cultivate immortality. Meanwhile, the villagers rejoice, relieved to be free from his pranks. Under Uncle Li's guidance, Bai is taken to the Spirit Flow sect and introduced to the senior of the Ignition Room. There, he encounters Su Baoke, who objects to his admission, claiming he has been waiting for years to join the Hu Ignition Room. Hu challenges Bai to a fight and quickly flees the scene. Subsequently, Bai explores the Hu Ignition Room and discovers its role in producing spiritual food for the sect elders. Meeting his 8 chubby seniors, Bai earns the moniker 9 Fat. Later, he selects a divine artifact that turns out to be a turtle-shaped pan, quite different from his expectations. During the night, Bai reflects on the advice given by his senior, who imparted the fundamental technique of the Spirit Flow sect, the art of control. He explains the 10 levels of key condensation, with students in the Ignition Room having only reached the 3rd level. To progress to level 4, Bai must become an outer sect disciple. Despite the explanation, Bai struggles to sense his own Kai. Frustrated by his own weakness, Bai decides to run an errand and stumbles upon his seniors devouring the spirit food meant for the sect elders. Fearful of being exposed, they forcefully feed Bai a 1000-year mushroom, claiming it will cleanse his body and awaken his spirit veins. The following morning, Bai awakens with a tingling sensation, feeling the Qi accumulating within him. Seizing this opportunity, he diligently cultivates and after a few days, successfully condenses spiritual Kai. Suffering from hunger, Bai heads to the Ignition Room where his seniors are astonished to witness his advancement to level 1 of key condensation. Later, his seniors tell Bai about the 3 main cultivation methods, including purification of medicinal herbs, refining and upgrading weapons, and the most difficult of all, spiritual pairing, which can lead to continuous improvement of various objects. He ponders over the sect's most powerful treasure, having undergone purification 10 times, wondering about the glowing mark on his grain of white rice. Meanwhile, Su Baokai eagerly awaits Bai's emergence from his room to accept his challenge. Inside, Bai tirelessly practices spiritual purification, unknowingly cleansing the turtle-shaped pan. As a consequence, his hair turns white, an unintended result of exchanging his own life force for spiritual purification. After several days of cultivation, Bai leaves his room and visits the market to purchase medicine, where he unexpectedly encounters Xu Baokai. Meanwhile, the seniors at the Ignition Room discover their pantry has been raided. Both sides engage in a fierce battle, with Bai utilizing his advanced weapons to defeat Xu Baokai, while the seniors of the Ignition Room triumph over the real culprit. Later, the seniors are astounded to witness Bai's defeat of Xu Baokai and his subsequent attainment of level 3 key condensation. Before they can continue their discussion, the announcement of the Outer Disciple Advanced Training Competition interrupts them, as this competition serves as the sole path to becoming an Outer Sect disciple. After returning from the recent battle, everyone in the Ignition Room immerses itself in relentless training. Meanwhile, Bai strategizes for their victory, suggesting that preserving their strength by waiting patiently is the best approach. According to his plan, other participants will exhaust themselves in the initial battles. Finally, the day of the competition arrives. Numerous people gather on the peaks, each vying for the coveted rank of Outer Disciple. Surprisingly, disciples from the Ignition Room entered the competition for the very first time. The Enforcement Hall announces the commencement of the competition, confirming Bai's expectations as everyone else plunges into battle, while Bai's team conserves their energy. After a grueling journey, Bai eventually reaches the final obstacle, which proves to be challenging. However, he manages to overcome it, much to everyone's surprise. For the first time ever, the disciples from the Ignition Room secure the top position for the outer rank. Bai then proceeds to sell the remaining positions to Hu Xiaomei, earning some additional profit. Meanwhile, Feng Yan from the Enforcement Hall deems Bai's actions as violations. However, unbeknownst to them, Bai has memorized all 386 rules of the sect, and nowhere does it state that selling sect positions to other disciples is considered a violation. After Bai becomes an outer sect disciple, he is guided to Fragrant Cloud Peak, where he receives a warm welcome from Senior Hu Yunfei. As they make their way to the Scripture Pavilion, Yunfei explains the rules that every outer disciple must adhere to and informs Bai that Fragrant Cloud Peak specializes in refining medicine. He advises Bai not to address the Peat Master as Uncle Lai. Upon reaching the pavilion, Yunfei instructs Bai to choose an additional cultivation method. Bai searches diligently and eventually comes across an old cultivation method that is challenging to control. Despite its age and difficulty, Bai insists on having it stamped by the elder. Meanwhile, he impresses Yunfei by assisting fellow disciples in finding the techniques they desire, showcasing his remarkable memory. Later, Bai ventures into the forest to memorize the 10 volumes of herbs and plants given to him by Yunfei. There he unexpectedly encounters Chen Fi, who launches a relentless attack, seeking to settle a score. In a bid to escape, Bai mistakenly stumbles into the first steel examination hall. Meanwhile, Zhou Xingqi, renowned as the most beautiful girl in the sect, enters the examination hall. While inside, Bai realizes that he has already studied all the herbs in Volume 1 and completes the test ahead of the fan-favorite Zhou Xingqi. Soon he recalls Yunfei's words about the 10th steel examinations, where no one has passed the tests in 1,000 years. The master of Fragrant Cloud Peak and other peat masters gather to discuss the brilliance of Zhou Xingqi. Eventually, Zhao emerges from the examination hall, having completed an impressive 9,000 herbs and plants, only to be disappointed by being placed second to a mysterious turtle. The turtle becomes the talk of the sect, with many disciples eager to uncover its identity. However, Bai's plans to reveal himself in a grand manner are dashed when Qian places a bounty on his head, threatening anyone who supports the little turtle. In response, Xiaomei boldly declares her support for the little turtle, causing potential conflicts to arise. To avoid further disputes, Bai decides to take Xiaomei away from the situation. In a conversation, Xiaomei discloses that despite her nobility and talent, she had to purchase her position as an outer disciple, whereas the little turtle used his own abilities to defeat a sect genius. She also reveals that the one who passes the exams will receive a supreme treasure from the sect. Back in his room, Bai chooses to lay low due to the threat from Qian. Meanwhile, Xiaomei shows her gratitude by bringing lunch for him. During their conversation, she shares that advancing to the Foundation realm can extend one's lifespan by 100 years. During the night, Bai successfully completes all 10 stone steel exams, becoming the first person in 10,000 years to achieve this feat. He is rewarded with the supreme treasure, but swiftly flees the area without revealing his true identity. In the forest, a spirited-tailed chicken snatches the supreme pill from Bai's hand and devours it. Gradually, the disciples' perception of the little turtle began to change. Bai found himself engaged in a harmless job cultivating bamboo. He successfully reached the 4th level of key condensation, but struggled to make progress with the Undying Live Forever technique. After enduring 81 days of rigorous practice and enduring considerable pain, Bai finally managed to refine his skin. The following day, Bai wakes up with a relentless hunger, recalling the words of the old man from the scripture pavilion. He resents the spirit-tailed chicken for devouring his immortal pill and decides to seek revenge against it. Under the cover of darkness, Bai captures one of the chickens present at Fragrant Cloud Peak, only to discover that they belong to none other than Master Lai himself. The next day, Zhou Xingqi, Master Li's direct disciple, issues an order to find the thief. Bai showcases his exceptional acting skills and manages to earn her trust, becoming the leader of the squad tasked with apprehending the thief. This position provides Bai with easier access to steal the chickens. Through swift and cunning maneuvers, Bai successfully steals chickens from every farm in the sect. He progresses to cultivate the Iron Skin stage of the Undying Live Forever method. However, his actions eventually lead to his capture by Master Lai himself, and this time, Bai's acting skills prove futile. After being subjected to a brutal punishment and being thrown into the myriad Snake Valley, Bai endures countless beatings and pleads for mercy from Master Lai. Eventually, Master Lai decides to show mercy on Bai, but on one condition: he must achieve a top 5 position in the upcoming competition at Fragrant Cloud Peak. Initially, Bai attempts to negotiate his way out of it, but seeing Master Lai's anger, he reluctantly agrees. With a few days of training, Bai manages to reach the 5th level of key condensation. He refines his wooden swords 3 times and also refines the protective talismans given to him by Zhou Xingqi. Despite mastering the Iron Skin technique, Bai trains in a new skill from the Violet Kitty Cauldron control art called Lightness and Heaviness and Lightness, believing that not many people can master this technique. Bai's relentless training begins, but he soon realizes that his spiritual Kai is not sufficient for the task. Since he has no more chickens to consume, he resorts to cutting down all the bamboo he had previously planted to make spiritual food. Despite training diligently for days, his progress remains unsatisfactory. However, one day while sleeping, Bai suddenly masters the technique he had been struggling with, filled with confidence that he will crush every opponent with his newfound abilities. 2 months pass by quickly, and the tournament finally commences. Disciples from various peaks, including Bai, participate in the matches. After a long list of bouts, it is finally Bai's turn to take the stage. The match kicks off and Bai accidentally hurls his turtle pan at his opponent, resulting in an unexpected victory. However, this doesn't sit well with the other spectators, and Bai is summoned by the elders who demand that he hand over the grocery store he's carrying. With the first stage of the competition coming to a close, the participants draw their lots for the next matches. Bai's luck takes a turn for the worse as he finds himself facing Senior Feng in the first round. Overwhelmed by fear, Bai desperately tries to come up with a strategy to defend against Senior Feng Yan's attacks. Feng Yan soon realizes that Bai is merely buying time and decides to initiate the offensive. Trembling with fear, Bai relies on his protective talismans to shield himself. However, luck smiles upon him as he manages to land a lucky strike on Senior Feng, thanks to the power of the refined talismans, as forces Feng Yan to unleash his blood spirit. To everyone's surprise, Bai successfully blocks his opponent's attack with the wooden sword he had refined 3 times, earning admiration even from Master Lei. After intense battles, both Du Lingfei and Bai Xiaokun made it to the final round. Unfortunately, due to Bai's inability to control his outspoken nature, he finds himself in trouble yet again. At first, he offers to surrender the match, which only further infuriates Du Ling, who believes Bai is mocking her. As the match begins, Bai trembles in fear as he witnesses the immense power of his opponent. Enraged by Bai's remarks, Du Ling unleashes her most powerful technique. At the same time, Bai employs his throat-crushing maneuver, but ultimately, Du Ling manages to stab him with her sword. However, Du Ling collapses from exhaustion with her spiritual energy depleted, resulting in Bai's victory. Master Lai raises doubts about Bai's intentions, questioning whether he purposely missed his throat-crushing technique to avoid causing severe harm. Du Ling soon regains consciousness and demands a rematch, but Master Lai refuses, recognizing her weakened state. Instead, Master Li proposes an alternative. He presents a spiritual herb crafted from various plants, challenging the participants to identify the most plants used. Master Li commends Du Ling, but is particularly impressed by Bai's focus and concentration. Du Ling declares her readiness and reveals 8 different types of herbs. Meanwhile, Bai informs the elders that Master Li's creation comprises a whopping 75 herbs, securing his victory in the competition. The following day, Su Baokai arrives at Bai's doorstep. After much flattery, Su Baokai discloses that the enforcement hall is closely monitoring Bai. In response, Bai decides to pursue alchemy and takes the drug apprentice trial. To everyone's surprise, Bai successfully passes the trial with exceptional skill. Meanwhile, the enforcement hall hatches a plot against Bai, summoning him for an important meeting. Unexpectedly, Bai receives a summons from the enforcement hall for an urgent mission. He is instructed to descend the mountain alongside Du Ling and Feng Yan in order to locate Hu Yunfei. Before leaving the peak, Bai's friends gather to bid him farewell, including seniors from the ignition room and Xiaomei, who prepares lunch and provides pills for their upcoming journey. Xiaomei earnestly asks Bai to ensure her brother's safe return from the mountain. As they make their way down the mountain, Bai recalls Su Baokai's words and begins to suspect Feng Yan. Along their descent, Du Ling enlightens Bai about the presence of other sects in the area. She explains that the Tongtian River stretches expansively, with the distribution of aura influenced by the sect's proximity to the river. She reveals that the most powerful sects are situated along the river's coastline. Eventually, the team arrives at Falling Star Mountain. Filled with trepidation, Bai suggests taking care of an errand the following morning. During their exploration, the team stumbles upon a lifeless rabbit, clearly a victim of an unnatural death. Feng Yan identifies the culprit as a double-headed rabbit, an incredibly venomous creature. Soon after, they encounter a behemoth, a formidable being surpassing the Foundation establishment realm. Luckily, the behemoth remains unaware of the 3 disciples' presence. Later, the team falls into an ambush by double-headed bats, forcing Bai to separate from Feng Yan and Du Ling. The following morning, both Du Ling and Feng Yan are convinced that Bai has met his demise at the hands of the bats. To their astonishment, Bai reappears moments later. He describes the previous night as exhilarating and reveals that he single-handedly defeated all the bats using his refined wooden sword. He also discovered a rare medicinal herb used for blood ignition, shocking Feng Yan to the core. However, their conversation is interrupted by the sudden arrival of an ancient beast that drains all of Bai's energy. After days of tireless searching, the team finally discovers a jade slip left behind by Hu Yunfei in an empty space. Feng Yan uncovers a recording left by Yunfei, in which he mentions encountering peculiar clues related to an unknown matter. Bai suspects that this matter may be connected to the blood flow sect located nearby. To delve deeper into the investigation, the team devises a plan to infiltrate the border protected by the Chen family. Upon entering the border, Liu Chen escorts the team to their residence. Bai, however, remains suspicious of their true intentions and cautions the team against acting recklessly. As expected, the trio is suddenly attacked by Liu Chen, who openly admits to betraying them. In the midst of the chaos, an evil formation is activated, devouring the souls of those trapped within until they meet their demise. The team quickly realizes that their only chance of survival is to escape the mansion, but Liu Chen has different plans. He harnesses the power of the evil formation, using it to block their path and launch relentless attacks. Despite their valiant efforts, even Du Ling's explosive attack proved futile against the formidable formation. However, after a while, Bai discerns a weakness in the formation, creating an opportunity for their escape. In a moment of revelation, Du Ling discovers Hu Yunfei trapped inside a demon tree, providing spiritual energy to sustain the evil formation. Bai's plans change upon seeing Hu. Eventually, Yunfei regains consciousness and reveals that the Chen family has joined forces with the Blood Flow sect. To rescue Yunfei, Bai and Feng Yan divert the formation's attention, enabling Du Ling to flee with him. However, in a crucial moment, Feng Yan reveals his true colors and betrays Bai, trapping both of them with the demon tree. Miraculously, Bai manages to escape the clutches of the tree, leaving Feng Yan in frustration. Enraged, Feng Yan hurls a violent pill at Bai. Fortunately, the resulting blast generates a pulse that allows Bai to break free from the formation. Afterward, Bai pretends as if Feng Yan intentionally saved him, concealing his true escape. Upon recovering his spiritual strength, Yunfei discloses that the Chen family has ravaged nearby villages, causing immense suffering and claiming innocent lives. He then explains that he fell into a trap set by the Chen family, but their conversation is abruptly interrupted by Liu Chen, who launches a ferocious attack, inflicting severe injuries upon the team. Meanwhile, Du Ling urges Bai to escape with Yunfei, while she confronts Liu Chen. If you like what you saw, consider subscribing to the channel and stay tuned for more quality uploads.